I will do, but there is one I at least want to do with how I incorporate their food recommendations into a meal. I do have erratic eating schedule, not because of schedule or anything. I just eat when I'm hungry. So, and also I am doing an Invisalign treatment to fix something or bite or something. So it is difficult for me to schedule eating. So I definitely want to do a series of how I incorporate uh, Viome recommendations into meals. And really, I have an instant pot and I never spend more than 10 minutes preparing a meal or um, um, or even meal prepping. So it is a real quick recipe video, or not even recipe videos, real quick guidance uh, on the food recommendations and how I mix and match those. So we will do that one on another day, but let's review some of the other markers. I think a lot of my markers are on this average list, but let's start with protein fermentation. It looks like it is low on the average scale. This score reflects whether or not you are digesting your proteins properly. Protein digestion begins when you first start chewing and continues down in your stomach. If the protein is not fully broken down through this process, your microbes will digest the excess protein available and may convert it into harmful byproducts. Overly high microbial protein fermentation translates into a score that needs improvement. So I have high protein fermentation. That means the digestion is suboptimal. So that's what it means. And it looks like I don't know if I think protein was my enjoy food. There were certain foods like lobster that was prohibited, but I don't eat lobster every day, so it doesn't matter. But I did have proteins on my enjoy list. It looks like 34% of customers have this marker as good. Only 41% are like me with average markers. All right, Butyrate Production Pathways. This score assesses the levels of activity of all microbial pathways that lead to the production of a beneficial nutrient, butyrate. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid known to beneficially affect many wellness areas from gut lining to insulin sensitivity and satiety, or feeling full. I am kind of a median on this. A score that needs improvement means that your microbial butyrate production could really use a good boost. Individuals with low butyrate production activity would benefit from supplements or foods that either feed or add butyrate producing microbes into your gut ecosystem. Okay. So what does butyrate do? It is a short chain fatty acid known to beneficially affect gut lining and insulin sensitivity and satiety, or making helping you feel full. That is a good that is a good short chain fatty acid to have to make you feel full. Feeling full as in you will eat less. That's always good, I guess. Needs improvement represents 22% of Viome customers. Average represents 51% of Viome customers. So that is where I am at. Okay, flagellar assembly pathways. This score assesses the levels of activity of all microbial pathways leading to the making of a structure called flagella or flagella. Flagellar structures serve as fins or tails for various microbes to help them move. A score that needs improvement suggests that these signaling pathway activities are high, indicating unrest in your microbiome, as flagellar structures are helping beneficial microorganisms move away from a perceived threat. Higher than usual activity can also signal the presence of opportunistic organisms that are known to have these flagellar structures. This score is an important factor in assessing your inflammatory activity patterns. Okay, so it says mine needs improvement. I don't think I understood this marker really well, but I guess what they are saying is there is unrest in your microbiome. There is an unrest in your microbiome as flagellar structures are helping beneficial organisms move away from a perceived threat. Ammonia production pathways that needs improvement as well. This score assesses the levels of the activity of all microbial pathways that result in the production of ammonia. Ammonia gas can be made from amino acids as byproduct of the breaking down of protein or from ingested nitrate or nitrate molecules found in things like food preservatives or additives, preserved meats, and dried fruit. I do have cashews as uh, minimize food or avoid food. Ammonia gas can be made from amino acids as a byproduct of breaking down of protein or from ingested nitrate or nitrate molecules found in things like food preservatives or additives, preserved meats, and dried food. This kind of activity, when high, contributes to pro-inflammatory patterns, potentially harmful to the gut lining as well as slowing of your motility. We already discussed in my last video, motility is moving the food down your digestive tract and is also one of the signs that your proteins may not be digested properly. A good score means the activity of ammonia production pathways is low. So this does correlate with protein digestion scores. So that makes sense. I can already vouch for, I was not able to lose weight when I was eating some processed food. I had to literally cut down the processed food consumption to zero when I was trying to eat for weight loss. So there may be some truth to this marker. It looks like 68% of Viome customers have this marker as average. Putrescine production pathways. Mine is average. This score assesses the levels of activity of all microbial pathways that lead to putrescine production. Putrescine is a molecular byproduct of protein fermentation, a microbial breakdown of protein. If the activities of putrescine production pathways are too high, it can be harmful to the gut environment and the intestinal barrier lining. It is also one of the signs that you may be eating too much protein that may not be digested properly. That is quite possible because if I have to choose between protein and carbs, I end up eating more proteins. So that is a possibility. Uh, I may have to watch portion sizes of proteins for sure. So that is good to know. Uric acid production pathways, that is average as well. This score assesses the levels of the activity of all microbial pathways that lead to the production of uric acid. Uric acid is a normal byproduct that comes from the breakdown of compounds called purines, which can be found in beer, sugary sodas, seafood, and shellfish. Turkey, veal, bacon, and organ meats. Okay, I don't think I am particularly fond of any of those foods. I do like my seafood and shellfish. Excessive amounts of uric acid can contribute to gout. A good score means that your uric acid production pathways levels are low. So mine still is on an average. I don't know if you should be okay with average or you tend to, or you have to make it good. But this is scary. 48% of Viome customers have uh, need improvement on this score. But yes, I guess I do not particularly care about any of those foods, so I should be okay there. Salt stress pathways. This score assesses the levels of activity of all microbial pathways that signal excessive salt in the gut environment. This kind of signaling activity, when high, suggests that you may need to adjust your salt or sodium intake and or your hydration levels. Let's drink water on that note. Yes, I keep forgetting to drink water, but I keep a bottle next to me so when I remember, I do drink my water. I know it's a plastic bottle, but This is what I could get hold of when I was leaving the house today. Too much salt from your gut microbiome makes your gut environment less favorable for some beneficial or probiotic organisms to thrive. A good score means that the pathway levels that signal microbial salt stress are low. So yes, drink more water. I think everybody knows that you have to drink your water. So let's see, bile acid metabolism pathways. That is also middle average. This score assesses the levels of activity of all metabolic pathways that include bile acids. Normally, the bile acids are made by the liver to help with fat digestion. Okay. Bile acids enter the colon in form of bile salts. Your gut microbiota can change them back into bile acids, after which they can even be recycled back to the liver. If this activity is relatively high or excessive, it may be an indicator of your inability to break down fat or absorb nutrients properly, which can contribute to a pro-inflammatory environment or negative liver-related effects such as microbiome's bile acid pathways have been implicated in fatty deposits in liver. A good score means these pathway activities are low in your sample. So mine is average, so I don't really know what it means, but but it probably means that if this score is better, my fat metabolism will be better. So let's see if this improves from doing the eating as per Viome's recommendations. Tma Production Pathways. This score assesses the levels of all activity of metabolic pathways that result in TMA production. Trimethylamine is a molecule that gets converted to TMAO in the liver. TMAO is associated with unfavorable metabolic and cardiovascular effects. Since one of the substances used for microbial TMA production is choline, reducing high choline containing foods in the diet may be one of the options for improving this pattern. A good score means these TMA production pathway activity levels are low. So my score is an average, but what they are saying is reducing high choline containing foods. I'm going to just make a note because I do want to look up. Let's look up what foods contain high choline. Let's do that. Let's find out what food contain. Eggs, liver, and peanuts are especially rich in choline. I do eat a lot of eggs. Major contributions to choline in the American diet are meat, poultry, fish, dairy foods, pasta, rice, and egg-based dishes. Spinach, beets, beet, and shellfish are also good sources of choline. Okay, so it looks like a lot of the foods that I like do contain choline. So TMA production, since one of the substances used for microbial TMA production is choline, reducing high choline containing foods in the diet may be one of the options for improving this pattern. Okay, so sometimes I probably should be eating food less in choline. So I think those are all the markers we are discussing today. Thank you so much for listening. I am going to come back with rest of the markers, discussing rest of the markers, and also I will update the video about the food recommendations or how I am eating my superfoods along with some enjoy foods. I do drink my black tea, which is a minimized food for me, and I probably overdo it a little by a little, but that is why I compensate by eating a lot more superfoods. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you.